Who's got the intro? Do I got the intro? You got the intro. We didn't talk about it.
I've got the intro, baby. It's the April Outturn preview tasting with these. Man, look at that thumbnail. You and I, Scott, we are looking really different. Maybe because my photo was taken 5 years ago. How are you doing, man?
I think anybody would be hard pressed to match the handsomeness in that photo, that thumbnail.
How about the background?
Real quick shout out. I see Cat in the Garden is tuning in. Cat in the Garden was in the background the other day. I got a phone call for a bottle order, and Cat in the Garden was in the background yelling, "Say hi to Scott. Say hi to Scott."
Well, here we are. We are back with another month, and we're just commenting. I haven't been on the channel with you for a while. You've been really holding the fort. Been putting out a ton of good content. Welcome everybody. Give Scott drop him some love in the chat if you've enjoyed Scott's content. Seen a lot of Scott's opinions about our whiskeys going around, which has been great. And I don't know, Scott, I've enjoyed it. I think you brought a really good sort of down to earth perspective on a lot of these whiskeys, and I'm stoked for the lineup tonight.
Most of the time, last couple of weeks, I've been setting up a new studio. I wanted to kind of change things up and do my single bottle reviews now. So I'm standing here behind, this bourbon barrel that I got and set up a kind of a separate studio just to mix things up a little bit, bring a little bit more energy instead of just sitting there at a desk all the time or sitting there at the barrel. But hey, and the in-person events are ongoing right now as we speak as well.
I think this is the first time we've done a live broadcast the same time our team is out hosting tasting events around the country. So first of all, if you're with us, we're glad to have you. We're kind of envious. A lot of people are getting together in person tonight, of course, but for our Outturn preview tastings. But we can assure you this will be the largest gathering of all of them. And so for that, I think we can raise a dram or two, especially. So biggest venue that the society has in the US is right here on YouTube.
Let's do you want to do a quick roll call, kind of go down through who's here and tuning in early on?
Yeah, take it away.
All right, Dale Barbu, Cat in the Garden, Greg Plannert, Big Dog, Charlene Thompson, Robert Anderson, DJ Hardware, and Smashbox Recordings official channel. Oh, that's Todd Greenhouse. Todd, how are you?
The official channel, Todd. I'm glad you came from that channel, not the unofficial one. Good to have you, buddy.
Castillo Montoya is here. Robert G, KLG223. Kim Michael. Kim, you haven't called in for a while. Don't you need about time to order some whiskey? Vortex 1988. Alexander Britton. Gregory Cloyd. Joe Combs. Fine Spirits Appreciation Society. Warren Buff. Sean Peake. Jeff Rothpan and Robert all tuning in. George Kaplan, the GCAP is here.
What's up, GCAP? And I saw Sean Peake's comment was at last night's tasting in San Jose, like the lightly peated bottle. Uh-oh. Giveaway. There's a lightly peated whiskey tonight. So, on that note, we have our in-person tasting events going on throughout the country tonight. Actually, last night and tonight. And we were kind of debating, should we do the same lineup here on YouTube this evening, just for us? As the same whiskeys that everybody's tasting in person. We thought we would keep it the same. So maybe if you went to an event last night, or if you're tuning in from an in-person tasting event somewhere this evening, maybe don't reveal everything up front. Yeah, this is not a big secret, but our intent is to, at least for me, I'm tasting all these for the first time. So
we do have a couple giveaways we're going to do tonight as well. So hang around here, a couple throughout the show, and we'll go from there. So let's start with the first whiskey. Oops, that's not it. About clicked the wrong one. There we go. Cask 5.79, Paris in the Spring. This is an 18-year-old Lowland in the juicy oak and vanilla profile, 55.4%, aged in a first fill ex-bourbon barrel.
Yeah, Scott and I were deciding the lineup for this evening. We thought we'd start with a bang because We've seen a few from this distillery, a few casks come through in the last 6 months or so. But I think in terms of this age, I think maybe this might be the sort of the most mature cask. And anytime you can get a first fill bourbon barrel, a spirit matured in a first fill bourbon barrel for 18 years, 18, 20 years, that's pretty special. A lot of flavor from the cask is what we can imagine.
This is my first distillery number 5 from the SMWS, so I was looking forward to it. And just a little spoiler, it does not disappoint.
So I want to do a quick shout out. I'm starting this event with. Can you see this glass? This is our SMWS Glasgow. Oh wow, Scott's removed it. This is our Glasgow venue glass. We opened our venue for members in 2020, just before the pandemic, with the most brilliant time to open an in-person gathering location. Anyway, shout out to Alan Wood, who was our lead barman at the Glasgow venue, who gave me this glass and said, "Please, can you just fill it with whiskey and drink it on YouTube?" I said, "That's an odd request, but sure." So I wrapped it in bubble wrap. I was so nervous it was going to break in transit, but here we go. Cheers, Scott. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Are you going to nose it? You just go right in on the palate. That's all right.
Listen. Need to get that on the palate right away. Let's go back. Oh, that was good.
Yeah, this is a blast of juicy fruit, nice, just rich vanillas, oak, tropical fruits, burnt marshmallow cream on the nose, and it comes through on the palate as well.
The spirit is uniquely triple distilled. Most of single malt Scotch whiskey is in fact double distilled. This particular distillery triple distills their spirit, so it's a bit more lighter. It's a bit lighter, a bit more airy. There's always a confectionery sugar type of note, I think, to the spirit. Mm-hmm. But for me, it's not nearly as sweet as a lot of other casks or spirits from this distillery. Probably because that first fill bourbon, but those tasting notes that you mentioned, the caramels and the heavy vanilla creams, and I'm getting a lot of sort of orange peel. A lot of that's coming from the cask, very fresh bourbon cask. And almost 2 decades spent in it.
Robert Anderson says last week in DC, he checked out Jack Rose Saloon. Great SMWS offerings there. A must visit for SMWS members.
Yeah, fantastic bar. And I also noticed too a few new members as well. James tuning in says, "New member, hello everybody." And Robert says, "Super excited for this. I just joined the society." Well, good to have you guys. Mm-hmm. Good to have everybody, new members or old. I gotta tell you, this is a very sort of elegant. I'm not going to use the word smooth. I hate using the word smooth to describe any whiskey, but it's a very creamy, delicate spirit. I haven't added any water in it, 55.4%. The first sip was a bit intense, but I think that was just the first sip. Right now, I'm really enjoying this as is, which is kind of shocking.
Yeah, very nice, neat, just coats the palate, great finish on it. And it's all of those vanilla creams and caramels and some tropical fruits in here, that powdered sugar, confectioner sugar that you mentioned, sponge sugar, just a mouthful. It's beautiful.
There's a bit of peppermint or a menthol, more like peppermint. I was going to say menthol too, but there's a minty sort of undertone, which is surprising, but I think that just adds some depth to it. I think it's very different from your classics. We talk about regional differences and there's some in flavor, but it's not always as profound as we think they are. But this to me is a very different spirit than a classical Speyside. You got 18 years in a bourbon barrel. On paper, if it were from Speyside, there's a general sort of a profile you can expect. Again, with the exceptions, of course. This is dramatically different. And I think it's a bit more earthy. That confectionery sugar note it's just a bit more pronounced, even though, like I said, it's not as much so as other casks. Very, very well balanced, but it's a totally unique spirit. And probably, I bet because of it, the triple distillation, that obviously has a huge impact on the character as well. But I dig it.
Really kind of some bakery rising dough, or actually it's like you're walking by a bakery as the bread is baking and you're just smelling that coming out, that rising baking dough. I add a couple drops of water. Very nice. For my first distillery number 5, I love it. This one is a gorgeous whiskey.
Shout out to Dale Barber, who says, I know I'll be going to the vaults on 8th of June. Dale, I'm going to miss you by about 2 days, my friend. I'll be there on the 5th of June, 3 days. That's a bummer, but hope you have a great time.
You know, on the notes on the front of the bottle, it says they sat outside a cafe with peppermint tea.
Oh, the peppermint's on the label. Okay. Yep. It's in the tasting though. All right. I thought I pulled that one out of my ass, but no, I got a little bit of that, but that's funny that's, oh, here, let me grab the bottle. Oh, here it is. Yeah. Anyway, very, very lovely spirits. Great start. You know, a lot of complexity there too. It's different, you know, and I mean that in a good way. If you don't have a Lowland in your collection, I think it's a really good place to go, just in terms of I don't know, I think it's approachable. Like it's easy to love this one. It's not too dramatically unique, you know, but it's different from, like I said, the traditional 18-year-old Speyside cask we can typically come across. So again, if you have a Lowland, just want to consider. If you haven't had a chance, there's your starting point right there.
I think water helped it too. It really brought out more of the baked breads, more of the fruits. Everything's just showing a little bit more on it. Malty, vanilla goodness.
You're right.
Yeah.
I had it too. I liked it neat, but man, with a little bit of water, it's really opened up.
Yeah. More of the citrus showing. Pears, apples, lighter fruits.
I'm getting some more of the oak myself. Just
good oak.
A little bit more, yeah.
All right.
Let's move along. That was a good start. And thanks to Alan again for this glass. I realized this is in fact chipped in the end. So I had to take a sip. I was like, oh, this one's a harsh whiskey. No, it's not the whiskey, it's the glass. So I've got 5 others in front of me right now. All right, where are we going to next?
Well, we'll move into, we got a spicy and dry profile coming.
Oh, yeah, you were big on this up front. We saw this whiskey. I was like, let's put this at the end. And Scott says, no, let's put this right up front. Look at this thing, 62.9%, 8-year-old Highland from a first fill bourbon hogshead.
I'll tell you, spicy and dry surprises me. It wasn't really on my radar until last year with an offering or two that I'd picked up. And then once I started with SMWS in November, I've collected a few since then, and they just continue to impress me. It's a great profile, and I think it's one that's kind of overlooked. And I think if you're looking for, a great whiskey that's just a little bit different profile, you don't get all that, sweet, fruity, mellow profile. You don't get those deep, rich, dried fruits, not even necessarily the juicy oak and vanillas. It's spicy. It's oaky, astringent, and they're just good.
Yeah. I've always found, well, let's get into this whiskey. I want to kind of see how it is, but I'll just share my opinion as profile, because we haven't seen as many whiskeys from spicy and dry come out in the last couple of years. The whiskeys for me in the profile, every time I taste them, I always think, man, this is a whiskey that you wouldn't find off the shelf. They're pretty raw. They tend to sort of evoke a lot of flavors that remind me of like being at a working distillery, like on a farm. There's just like overall consistently It's a very wild sort of enthusiast style that, I think is not very common. Never been overly approachable or I'm trying to think of what I was. I'm not. Meaning to say, for me, it's always been one I felt that like, wow, you really have to appreciate whiskey, malt whiskey, to really start to love this.
Yeah.
It could be a bit much because again, this one's really intense too. 8 years old. It can be a bit much up front compared to like the last profile we had, juicy oak and vanilla, some of the other more delicate profiles. But man, I think once you really if you're really into malt whiskey, you like the raw intensity of the spirit. It's like there's some spectacular whiskeys in this one. So I'm eager to try this one. I've just been nosing it, and it's totally different than I think what I would think.
Especially from what we just came from that 18-year Lowland. Oh yeah, I mean there's a sour funk dank basement on here that sour oak, pepper spice.
But do you see what I mean right away? It's like it's pretty malty. Like you feel like you're walking into a distillery, like in Scotland in the cold. I mean, you've been to many of them. I mean, you do that big tour, and think about it. Like it just evokes the feeling of being inside. I mean, okay,
yeah.
Taste it and tell me what you think.
Yeah, as soon as you said that, being inside, yes, yeah. You get into some of actually, it kind of smells like the cask warehouses. You get in, there's just all the oak, all those casks are sitting in there. Some of them are steeping whiskey, and it's a good funk.
I'm not obeying the order. I'm like drinking all these things. I am thirsty. I haven't had a whiskey in a while. I gotta sort of take it easy. Slow down, I got a nose and share my opinion. What am I here for? I'm not here to just hang out. I'm here to offer something of value. But right away, beautiful, beautiful aroma.
Yeah, quite a different mouthfeel than what we just came from, like you pointed out, that 18-year juicy oak and vanilla, light, citrusy, full of vanilla, full of creams and caramels. And here's this, astringent, oaky, peppery whiskey that's assaulting the palate. And already that 18 years off of my palate, it's already wiped out by this thing. It's so different.
Yeah. I love how it's just clinging to the palate, and I don't know what's going on tonight, man. The last one was so enjoyable at 55.4%. This is 62.9. I just went right in. I'm like, this is pretty damn good. This is really enjoyable at this strength. That tells you where I'm at, I guess. But just plumes and plumes of flavor, and it's a big
nice finish, peppery. Even I call out dry mustard on this one. You can actually buy a mustard powder. Most people probably know this, as a seasoning or to mix into dressings and stuff. I even got a little bit of that on the nose and just a little bit on the palate with the spiciness of this one. Real quick question for you, Ben, and maybe because I've had a couple of phone calls. Is the UK requiring reservations, at the destination bars there?
Okay, so I saw a few other comments too, just about a lot of people are traveling, which is great. I was actually just there a couple of weeks ago. It kind of reminded me of something. First of all, the vaults, all of our venues are closed on Mondays. So I saw some mention of different dates in June, perhaps the 13th. And so the vault is closed, as is our Queen Street bar in Edinburgh as well. They're about 2 miles apart from each other. So the vaults is in the Port of Leith, and it's a big open room. You do not need a reservation to go. Check our website for the hours and whatnot, but you can always go in there. It's very, very comfortable, sort of lounge style atmosphere. And Scott, we were there together just a few years ago as well. And
2019.
And then just a couple miles away in the heart of Edinburgh is our bar at 28 Queen Street. So it's a multi-story venue. And the first floor bar is actually open to the public. And the first floor bar actually was just named best whiskey bar in the world at the Icons of Whiskey Awards in London last week. Yeah. So the number one whiskey bar is in the world was just voted to be what we call the Kaleidoscope Bar, which is the ground floor of the Queen Street venue.
Yeah.
Upstairs is our dining room for members only. So if you want to eat dinner and do any sort of, and food's fantastic. You could also pair different courses with different drams. You do have to make a reservation for that. So I want to say the email, you have to just email them. It's queenstreet smws.com. I believe that's the case, but check our website. All the information's up there to make reservations. So if you want to do the dinner, you do have to make a reservation. Generally, though, it's members only. However, you can bring up to 3 non-member guests to any of our venues in the UK as well. And as I mentioned, I was in the Glasgow venue. Fantastic. They're all 3 of them in Scotland are very, very different. So I just did the little tour. Recommend doing that for sure. So that's the long answer to the question.
All right. First time I've ever gotten this note, I got bratwurst on sauerkraut with deli mustard on it. How's that?
The brat. Okay. So I get the beer battered bratwurst, like just straight off the bat. That for me, I haven't gotten the mustard note of it, but just on the aroma. Have you added water yet to this one?
No, still neat.
I'm going to add a little bit of water to see how that changes the aroma. But right away, beer battered bratwurst, which I don't know. As I'm saying that out loud, it doesn't sound that appealing.
Yeah.
But it is.
I know we come up with some different notes, don't we, on whiskeys?
Yeah, dank basement. I saw somebody say, as Charlene says, struggling with the dank basement smell. I have one of those. You want to talk about perfect pairings? There you go.
I don't know if they can see it or not. I got my KU shirt on, and we should be wrapping up about the time the game starts. Go KU! And Charlene Thompson is tuning in. She's in the Kansas City area, so she's probably waiting for the game to start as well.
Man, that's good. I had a dash of water. The texture is really spot on. Really, really rich. Very luscious. Crazy complexity for a spirit 8 years. And this it's only in one cask, right?
Yep.
Full term 8 years in the first select bourbon hogshead. There's a lot. Nature is being wildly unpredictable, has really taken charge here. Put together, I think, a fantastic spirit.
Again, I got to tell you, I think Spicy and Dry is a really underrated profile that a lot of people don't look at. And there's just some phenomenal whiskeys coming out. This is another one. I mean, it's just, there's so many different ways you can go with our, not just our scotches, but scotch in general. These different cask types, different regions, and the flavor profiles is just unbelievable. Ooh.
Question for everybody in the chat. What Monday night, what's everybody drinking? Are we the only two? Are you? Surely you can't just be watching us do this alone. What's in your glass?
Maybe they can. I do.
You can't if you're driving the car, listening to this on Apple CarPlay. Hopefully.
So I know a bad combination is my computer and my water pitcher that I have to sit here on the new set on this bourbon barrel. And I know at some point it's going to get knocked over. But we'll see.
Shall we move on?
Let's do one more. I want to do one more sip on this one. Actually,
I like this one. I'm enjoying watching you enjoy it. I mean, I like it too, but you're so this one's calling your name.
Even Kim KLG, she had pointed out it was the Curious Situation 78.2, was it 78.26 that we had? Underrated. It's 78.46 Curious Situation. I recommended that to a lot of people on the phone, and several people picked that one up and were just blown away by it. And this one's, not far off track of that.
A lot of people still at work. I've asked the question of what's everyone drinking tonight. Fine Spirits Appreciation Society. I work second shift, so I'm at work. Diet Coke it is. Honesty can be brutal sometimes. A lot of interesting. A lot of man. Everybody's got good taste here. I saw that Alexander said this 3.324 split personality. This is one we released last year. Fantastic whiskey. A big fan of that. Trying to keep that one around, but it's not going to last, even with all the other options here. It's really, really good.
All right. Ready to move on. I will tell you, real chewing pencils in a barbershop, though, the one just coming from with it handles water very well. I had a second round of water I put in it, and it's just still just such a great palate.
So we'll do one more, and then the
Then we'll do a giveaway. Yeah, you bet.
We're just gonna give away money, drink whiskey, and give away money tonight. That's what we're here for.
All right. 135.35 stellar stuff.
So I think from here on out, things get a little unpredictable. I have no idea what to expect from now. So just for everyone, so Scott, you've tasted all of these whiskeys tonight and had some time and actually shoot some videos that'll be coming out. Just the single bottle, just highlights and whatnot. Mm-hmm. I'm tasting all these for the first time, so it's kind of. It's good to just for reference for what that's worth. But I have I've pre-poured everything. It's been breathing for about 30 minutes to an hour now. So hopefully, I think they're sort of settling down a little bit. But I think from these last, we were doing 69, the last 4 here, just on paper, I have no idea what to expect, which is exciting.
Yeah. So 12-year Highland. Double casking here. We've got an ex-bourbon hogshead in the initial cask, and then finish in a new oak heavy char hogshead. And let me pour just a little bit more because you'll see it in the color on this whiskey. That new oak charred, heavily charred, hogshead. The color is it picks up so much from that new char.
Looks like am I the last man standing here? Looks like a young bourbon. That's my official color designation, young bourbon.
I'm still here. I can highlight you. So
I know. I just realized that. Wow, it's just me and my glass.
Look at my glass.
I'm pretty sure that's not a color descriptor, but young bourbon is mine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. This is...
Charred oak, toasted marshmallows, vanilla creams.
Taking a delicate malt whiskey and putting in virgin oak or new oak, as we call it, like that concept is, I don't know, I've always found it a little intimidating because sometimes virgin oak is just very intense and you have a very soft and sweeter grain and malted barley. Just nosing this one, I don't get that at all. It's very, very delicate, very sort of richly just flavored, just rather aromas, but it's not in any way, the oak is not overpowering whatsoever. Very, very delicate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very nice. Kind of surprised at the 54.5% ABV on a 12-year, which is pretty low. That's dropped down pretty good. But let's see, 255 bottles out of this release. We'll see what that heavy char barrel does on the palate. Charred chalkboard dust. As if someone was writing on a chalkboard.
Sounds disgusting. It's like my least favorite thing to put in my mouth is chalk dust.
Chalkboard dust. Toasted chalkboard dust.
Not chalk dust, the chalkboard dust. You got to smash up the chalkboard into dust.
Make some high-pitched squeaking sounds while you do it.
Oh, man.
Toasted marshmallows. Nice, a little bit darker fruits going on here. Not necessarily citrus citrus sweetness. More almost plum and raisin type darker fruit notes.
Man, this is I gotta tell you, I think this is pretty special. I really didn't have high expectations, for this one. 12-year-old Highland whiskey, great distillery, but transferred into new oak on paper. It's not really kind of my thing. So wrong. I'm just like reminding myself, man, I need to stop dropping. I need to drop all expectations. because this is stellar stuff.
No, I think expectations are good because then you can see what the whiskey does. Does it exceed them? Does it meet them, or does it not meet them? But
maybe I shouldn't prejudge is probably the better way.
Yeah, there. That's better.
Yeah.
I forget. What was I going to say? Oh, that new charred. I think that new charred barrel on this one has aged it. It feels older than 12, and not just on the palate, but by that ABV being that low, it almost feels like this is 15 to 18 years old, somewhere in that range, just because of that influence from the oak.
Yeah, it's funny how that you can sort of manipulate the profile to give off an expression of age, as you said, or complexity. I totally agree. There's so much going on, which I think is just, again, I'm really into it. So
yeah, I just got a little key lime pie. It's got a little bit of a lime tart. Good with the chalkboard dust, key lime pie.
Oh, dude, I'm digging this one. This is fantastic. I thought, I looked at all of these. I was like, of all of them, this would probably be my number 6 of 6. This is pretty damn good.
I was just thinking though, juicy oak and vanilla. I don't know. This is like that 18 year, the first one we did, the 5.79, definitely juicy oak and vanilla. This one could be pushing the boundary into maybe spicy and sweet.
Really?
You think?
Well, look, I mean, our palates. To me, this is more on brand for the juicy oak and vanilla than the first one. The juicy oak is a funny thing. So there's no such thing as juicy oak, but the spirit is very juicy. But first of all, my first impression was, man, the texture is just amazing. Very luscious, pretty viscous, obviously very flavorful, but the texture is brilliant. It has sort of a juicy fruit element to it, but not like maybe like over-ripened fruits, that are just juicy. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It's oaky. It's oaky, obviously, the new oak. Vanillins, I don't know. Maybe not as much as the first one.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed.
But it's also, I don't know, I'm trying to think of other profiles too. It's all of the above. That's our first trivia question right there. I'm trying to come up with the questions. How many chalkboards has Scott? Is it? Oh. Listen, okay, so we can wrap up on this one, and I know we got the everybody wants to watch the NCAA championship game coming up here in an hour, but not an hour and a quarter after. And I have to say that I'm big on this one. If you're looking for something to pick up, you're looking for a recommendation, I will just drop that one right there. This is a fantastic whiskey. Read up on it, when it comes out, of course, but really, really blown away for what I expected it to be on paper. And again, kind of a sobering reminder not to prejudge some whiskeys. And I quite frankly, looking at this whole lineup here, I thought this would be the least interesting for me. And I'm just being transparent here. Man, was I wrong?
Maraschino cherries. I got that while you were talking. That's some of the darker fruits that I was trying to pin down earlier. Very nice indeed. All right, so we got something. This is going to be this is the inaugural run. Our StreamYard offers us a giveaway tool now. You've seen it on the Scotch for Dummies channel. We need everybody that comments the right answer will be entered into the drawing. So the trivia question that we're going to, and this is for a $50 gift card. Is that right, Ben?
How many winners do we have?
One. It'll just pull one.
We'll do a $100 gift card.
$100 gift card.
You'll get a $100 gift card to smwsa.com. to be used towards anything in this shop.
Can I enter? Can I enter the drawing?
Yeah, and use it on those bottles that are on your shelf that were kindly sent to you as a work expense. Listen, so if you're a member, first, obviously these whiskeys are available to members. If you're a member, you win. You can use this. It's an electronic gift card. It will come to you via email. So I suppose once we pick a winner, they have to reach out to us with their email address.
Yeah, StreamYard will collect the winner. So here's the trivia question. I got to get this ready here.
So everybody who knows this answer, comment in the chat, right?
And this is a basic one, right? I would say. What year was the SMWS founded?
So for everybody who enters this in the chat, we will randomly pick one winner.
No, well, yeah, StreamYard, the giveaway tool, and we'll show it. We'll pick the winner.
Right.
And it's random. Everybody that enters the right answer here is entered. This is a $100 gift card. That's very nice, Ben.
Thanks. I mean, you're welcome, sir. Yeah. So everybody who enters, it's not a first to answer. Okay. Shout out to I see some consistent answers, but I see one going rogue here with a different answer. Okay.
And you only get one entry. If you answer 10 times, it only counts as one entry.
Yeah. Yeah. No spamming 1980 something.
You have to have the full 4 digits. And
to Joseph Sender, who says, oops, 1983. I think the way it works is like you have to just enter it exactly as is. So if you put
no, I think as long as the 4 digits are in there. I don't know if that's the right year or not. I don't know. I mean, that could be.
I don't know. I mean, you never know. So we'll give you a few seconds. I'm going to finish this glass of whiskey right here.
Yeah, this is very nice. I think this is one that exceeds expectation. This one palate's older than it is. I mean, if you had this blind, I don't think you would guess this was a 12-year-old, Scotch. I think you'd be thinking 15 to 18 years, somewhere in that range, because of that influence from the oak.
Okay. We have apparently you can Google this answer because it is a question, I suppose, and so every question can be Googled.
Yeah. All right, we got 49 correct answers so far.
Oh, you can, yeah. Okay, interesting.
Then, you think has that been long enough? We'll give everybody
10 seconds.
How long?
10 seconds.
10 seconds. That'll be long enough for me to share my screen. And then I'll show the randomizer with you where it picks.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. Oh.
Oh wait, I've got to change my system preferences here. Here we go. Does this do it? Until it is quit, you can choose to. I don't want to quit Google Chrome. I might not be able to share my screen. Something in my privacy settings is not letting me. Let me try it again here. There we go. All right, we're here. Here's the giveaway tool. There's the right answer. It's too late. We're drawing. It's going through the names. You can see it right there. StreamYard picks. It's slowing down. It's slowing down. Winner, Steven Stork.
First of all, amazing animation. Steven Stork, congratulations. You have won a $100 gift card to smwsa.com, which can be used on anything in the shop. Steven, if you're a member, or a bottle. If you're not a member, well, there you go. You can just apply that to a membership, I suppose.
Yeah.
Either way, you win.
$100 gift card that'll get your and yeah. I don't know if we say that though. We were going to offer it to non-members as well, and that way they would be able to. use it.
Yeah. Listen, anybody watching is eligible for this. And look, we'll do another one. I think in a few whiskeys from now. And
right, probably right after the 6th. So that was the 3rd whiskey. After the 6th one, we'll draw another.
Yeah. Congrats, Stephen. So I suppose at this stage you have to email Scott. Email Scott, right?
Let me see. Is he a member? Is he currently a member? I was going to look real quick. If that's his correct name. Just pulling it up here real quick. I got my other computer off to the side here. Oh, let's see. He's a customer.
Okay,
Yep, current member, Stephen Stort.
Okay, so Stephen, we have your email address. Don't email us. We'll email you with a $100 gift card. And if it's not there, check your spam folder. Sometimes it goes there. And because, I don't know, when you get an email that says $100 gift card, it's like pretty spammy. So I think most email filters will flag that one. But
oh yeah,
all right, there you go. Let's move on. We got 3 more whiskeys. We're 45 minutes deep on this. We're 3, so I want to catch up. And congrats. So the next question is going to be more difficult, by the way, right? Didn't we agree?
I think so. Yep.
I think so.
All right. Let's check. 4th whiskey of the night. We are moving on to a single grain whiskey, new offering, of course, G15.11, Worlds Collide.
So this is why.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I'm just showing the label while you're talking.
13-year-old Highland, ex-bourbon barrel and finished in a refill ex-Trinidad rum barrel. 58.1% ABV in the sweet, fruity, and mellow profile.
Hiding behind the bottle in the dark. Really, really excited about this. So quick note: G15.11. Any cask that starts with the code G is a single grain whiskey. We have 15 grain whiskeys distilleries that we've partnered with. G15 is obviously the most recent one, but just a bit of clarification on this one. So single grain whiskey is typically produced using a variety of grains from and distilled in the column still, which is different from single malt, which is 100% malted barley distilled in a pot still. Difference with G15 is, we won't talk too much about the distilleries. You can look this up if you'd like. Came from the same distillery as the last whiskey we just had, from a different set of stills. But what's most interesting is the grain used in this particular whiskey from G15, all the whiskeys from G15, is 100% malted barley. So this is 100% malted barley through a column still. So in a way, it doesn't meet the definition of single malts. It meets the definition of single grain, but it's unlike any other single grain, which is often made using a variety of other grains other than malted barley. So this is 100% malted barley, like I said, through a column still. So there you go.
Yeah, very nice. So, yeah, I'll wait till we get into this one. 13 years, and someone asked, this was 11 years ex-bourbon and then 2 years in the ex-rum barrel. So, woo, on the nose, just sweet fruits, sweet Laffy Taffy, sour candies.
Oh, yeah. Very, very tropical aroma.
Yeah.
Bit of some papaya, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Toasted coconut. Definitely get the toasted coconut going on.
Nice light oaks. Yeah. Coconut, pina colada. Woo. If you like pina colada. We'll get flagged by YouTube. You guys can't sing during your videos. All right. Really, I'm just looking, besides all those fruity, candied, sugary notes, malty. That's about it on the nose. Slight oaks, slight vanillas, but mainly those tropical fruits and sugars. Did you go in on the palate yet?
I know, I'm just still nosing it. Very, very luscious aroma overall. But I want to comment that, I didn't realize that single malts required a pot still. They do. It's kind of like in the list of requirements. Sort of it's after a few commas. There are a few commas before, but they do in fact have to be distilled in pot stills. So this is a single. Well, this is 100% malted barley, so it's a malt in a column still. It's totally different.
Yeah. Real quick from Joseph Zender, how often do we outturn an Isla? We normally we have 1 or 2 Islas a month, I would say. And when do you anticipate outturning the next oily and coastal?
First of all, the usage of outturn as a verb, I love it. I'm really liking the, you know, it's become Google. We don't Google things, we outturn things now. Totally digging that. And I'm going to answer that question right now about the oil and coastal, because the Islas have been coming out quite regularly. Well, as I'm saying that,
I don't think we have any this outturn.
Yeah,
I had looked.
Well, we have the festival next month, and we have the Isla Festival going down as one of them. But I'm also looking at the question about the oily and coastal, because that's a profile we don't see often.
There's one coming up, I believe, mid-month.
Oh, is there? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if we're supposed to say that or not, but yeah, I saw one in there. That's a good profile too.
Oh no, it's going to be in the outturn.
Is that this one?
Yeah, there's going to be one in this outturn. So we don't have that tonight, but maybe we'll share more at the end of the stream. Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, okay, I see it.
Anyway, G15.1.
Oh yeah.
Collide. What do you think of this rum cask as or the execution of this rum cask and the development of this whiskey?
Let me take a drink. I haven't sampled this one yet. Let's get into it, and then I will expand on that a little bit.
Oh, hey, coastals wash up every now and then.
Wow.
Alexander Britton, man, his comments are always just like money. He's got great comments. Thank you, Alexander. What do you think, Scott?
Oh, nice. Okay, so I'm not a big fan of rum finished whiskeys. I've had several, and usually the rum plays way too much of a part on the whiskey. There's too much of a rum influence that I usually don't care for. This one is a lot lighter. There's the rum influence isn't as much. You'll get some of the tropical fruits. You're going to get some of the sugars, little bit of the molasses, very, very little bit on the tail end. Overall, very nice. So it was definitely better than I had expected. And you had a reason, though, because of the Trinidad rum, of why it probably isn't as rummish as expected.
Rum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had a rum release recently, right? But not as many as we had in years past. But rum is the spectrum of flavors from rum is pretty broad. But the Trinidad rum, man, it's amazing, well balanced. I mean, for people who are into whiskey, but more sort of an earthy profile, it's right up there.
D. Mercer says, not a fan of rum finished whiskey. I'm now questioning every recommendation Scott has ever made.
Well, I've questioned those anyway. I mean, so I can totally relate, D. Mercer. But the good thing is Scott's honest, and we both try to be, and we can both sit here and say like it's our thing. But but truthfully, like I said earlier, man, virgin oak is not really traditionally my thing. But I was in love with that whiskey because that totally blew my expectations out of the water.
But yeah, so talking expectations, when I saw finished in a rum barrel, I really expected this was going to be one of those where the rum influence was really heavy and it was overtaking the whiskey character, and not the case here at all. I like this. It's just a very nice, marriage here of both, and it's just a lighter influence of that rum, and maybe it's the lighter rum overall without that much sweetness and that much sugar impact. But it's very nice. The tropical notes here, the coconut, the tropical fruits, and the pina coladas, very nice. I'm going to add a drop of water. Or a couple.
It's just such an enigma, this whiskey. Like this is just not the single grain from a column still. Finishing this Trinidad rum, it's just wild. And yes, I did see the comment. Okay, we'll put the pot still requirement to bed here. Single malt Scotch does have to be matured in a pot still. Other single malts beyond Scotland, maybe not so much. It's not as regulated, but for Scotch it does. So this is it's weird. It's not like a single malt, not like a single grain.
Yeah.
But by definition, it doesn't meet single malt.
What's your thoughts on the rum influence on this one? What do you think?
Well, I don't like overly sweet whiskeys, and I think if this spent a year or two in a Jamaican rum barrel, which I love Jamaican rum for its own thing, but that would definitely change the profile more than sort of this woodsy, earthy style of rum. And so I think it goes hand in hand. It's just like I think Oloroso sherry goes well with like a malt whiskey too, as opposed to some other overly sweet fortified wines. But I mean, I'm into it.
Yeah.
But because this G15, this malt or the column still single grain whiskey, technically, we'll keep it that way. It's so uncommon that it's not as familiar. So it's not like I'm just tasting this rum barrel finishing on something that is like, I don't know, a classic Speyside single malt. You know what I mean? And like really have more experience with that. We don't see these as often, like the underlying spirit. So it's just as is. I'm into it. It is more tropical. It definitely is not like a cold weather whiskey, and we're kind of into that spring, summer, I would say. Yeah. I think it's more suitable for where we're at.
Yeah.
The seasons or where we're going, rather. So
yeah.
Probably for me, it would probably be either a dessert whiskey with like a fruity dessert, not a chocolate one. I'm not a dessert connoisseur, but I wouldn't pair this with chocolate, but I would do like a lighter fruiter, like sponge cake type of dessert, or just like during the day on a weekend thinking,
sweet, fruity, and mellow is a great profile for this one. But, and like I say, I like it. I expected more sweetness, more impact from that rum barrel, which isn't here. And that's what I like. I kind of thought that rum, the whiskeys that I've had with that rum finish have just been, that was way too much rum influence on it. And not the case here lightly. It's so sweet. It's tropical. Like I said, all those you're sitting on the beach with little drinks with the umbrellas in them. And it's a whiskey instead of, whatever cocktail it would be. But that's it.
I think you can make some fantastic cocktails with this, though. Like, it would be pretty rare, pricey cocktail, but
yeah,
as a base spirit, man, it was like be amazing.
Yep. Yeah, beautiful. Great whiskey. Totally impressed me once again.
Yeah.
I was going to point out real quick, Wyatt Hazy. He said, Scott, if you're not going to drink that toasted barrel Michter's, you can send it to me with my bottle of the month. I can tell you Michter's toasted barrel rye is the second best rye I've ever had. Are we supposed to talk about that?
Oops. You got the floor?
Yeah. Booker's rye being the first. Outside of the SMWS offerings, of course. I did have Bart over today, and I had him. I gave it to him blind, the 4-year-old Tennessee bourbon that we released last week, which I think it's phenomenal. It is a great whiskey. It does not taste or palate like a 4-year-old. I mean, it feels like you're drinking a 12, 13, 14-year-old bourbon. Bart blind was blown away by it. He thought the same, and he was surprised to see it was that 4-year-old Tennessee bourbon that we released.
All right, number 5. We got 2 more. We got to pound through these. We're an hour into it. We got
Getting
game
into
time in
my
15 minutes. So we got 2 whiskeys in trivia round 2. Whew. I think we're going to Scott territory. You can tell by that red label or that red bottle cap that matches your red shirt. Scott is in the deep, rich, and dried fruits mode today and every day since I've ever known him.
right there by the Jayhawk.
Celebrating National Dress Like Your Favorite Flavor Profile Day. I obviously, didn't get the memo, but Scott showed up.
All right. One of my favorite profiles. Great color on this one. Ben's got better light than me. I'll let him hold his up again. And he's a little closer. I think I need to zoom in a little bit. And let's so this is 15-year-old Speyside double casking. First being an ex-bourbon hogshead, second cask, finishing cask is a first fill ex-oloroso hogshead, 56.1%. Moorish and Moorish, 95.52, 56.1% ABV. And this is the one I've been waiting for. Sweeter.
Okay. Just read the bottle note.
Oh.
Sorry. I'm sorry. You say your thing. What is this? My friends in the UK, whichever one of you wrote this is brilliant. Imagine being part of a caravan of camels approaching an oasis for your night's rest. We cook chicken paprikash?
Paprikash?
With paprikash? Paprikash.
That's what I'd say.
Oh, of course. With a refreshing glass of prune juice. Okay, so now that's funny. I actually read that as caravan of caramels or caramels.
Oh.
It's actually just caramel.
Caravan.
Camels. Not as funny as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was looking ridiculous. Imagine. So anyway, Scott, imagine you're in the caravan, approaching the oasis, drinking prune juice in your rock chalk Jayhawk shirt. What does it smell like?
Is this what it looks like riding a camel? That's what I was trying to do.
I don't know.
Do they move that fast?
I don't know. My only reference is Aladdin. So born in the Midwest. Let's go.
Fine Spirits Appreciation Society asks, I have to ask how long in that Oloroso cask? 2 years, I believe it was. I think this is a 15-year-old. It was 13 in the ex-bourbon and 2 in the first fill ex-Oloroso hogshead.
Brilliant balance just on the aroma alone between the sherry cask and I like the fruity Speyside spirit beneath it. Not in any way overpowering. It's not overly dark and spicy. It's not overly herbaceous. But you definitely, nosing this, it's an Oloroso sherry cask. So it's very, very prevalent. Present. Sorry, the cask is very present in the aroma, not prevalent, but you get a lot of the fruitiness of the spirit beneath it.
Yeah, a lot of the darker, even darker, sweeter fruits, raspberries, blackberries, but prunes, raisins, all those sherry notes are in there. Toasted, nuttiness. Cat in the Garden liked my riding a camel, and I realized it was probably a little bit more like there's probably, I think, like a sway in it, like you dip and you sway. It's probably like that. I don't know.
Paprikash is a Hungarian dish resembling goulash, a paprika-based potato soup. Yeah, I got it. But without potatoes and using meat instead, often chicken, sometimes veal. Okay. So was it pretty savory? I mean, that's kind of that's the hint. I missed that.
Let's see.
Ben's
I've been nosing it, and I don't have it on the palate yet. I was too busy riding the camel.
The new make profile of gray. No, I'm dressed like the Scottish sky on on the day of which the spirit was conceived. Gray and cloudy.
Stewed fruits, stewed blackberries, raisins, hazelnut, toasted raspberries, burnt caramel.
It's like a test dummies moment right here. I've watched this for years of you just going off one tasting note at a time. Raspberries.
Then that. Yeah, very nice. Wow.
Now you're pretty into the sherry cask overall. I mean, and I know you like a very heavy, rich and hearty, cherry whiskey. But what do you think of something like this, which is probably? I mean, I'm suggesting it's not as intensely. The sherry influence is not nearly as intense. It's not one of those dark as night.
I like both. I like the sherry bombs where you've got that exclusive maturation, and then I like these whiskeys that like this that are just finished as well, and you're just starting to get those hints. This isn't even just this. There's a good this oloroso cask on this one has really played a pretty good part on this for probably the 2 years that it was in it, but it's not overriding. There's still a lot of lighter, fruits here. There's still a nice honeyed sweetness. I'm just looking for some of those underlying, but the sherry here, I would say is kind of like a mid-level, maybe on this mid-level sherry influence.
I know what you mean. I totally agree. Yeah, it's it's a first fill sherry cask, a hogshead. It says I'm looking at the bottle right here. So it's first fill. So 2 years in a first fill hogshead, fresh sherry cask is different than, let's say, an 8-year-old whiskey in a refill sherry cask. It's just different. So it's like it just spent a little time in a very fresh sherry cask. So there's more juicy fruits to it. I mean, really, this is the only flavor profile is that it's like being on riding camels to an oasis. But beyond that, it's not like where I feel like it gets more than fruits. I don't know. Maybe this is not making sense, but it's kind of like microwaving something versus like baking something over a period of time. Like it was just like zapped with this very, very fresh sherry cask over a spirit that, look, it's 15 years old. So, I mean, it's got some good maturity behind it. So there was a lot going on already before it went into the sherry cask, presumably. And it just injects some vibrancy to the spirit.
Yeah.
Paprikash.
Yep. Pronounced paprikash. Paprikash.
Paprikash.
Fine Spirits Appreciation Society. Yeah, definitely not a bomb here. Like I say, nice mid-level sherry influence here. Very nice, well-rounded distillery character, lying underneath here. But I mean, you can see it. I mean, just from the color, what the that oloroso hogshead impact had on this for the finishing.
Very, very nice whiskey.
I don't get as much of the savory, meaty notes as I get with some of them that are a little bit heavier. This one's definitely more fruity, like more of those, blackberries, raspberries, prunes, raisins, golden raisins, along those lines. Maybe even a hint of a grilled pineapple, in here, but a little bit of an underlying tropical fruit.
Yeah, maybe that's the aftertaste of the last rum cask.
Yeah.
I was like, where the hell are you getting that from? The pineapple. I mean, I haven't gotten that, but maybe it's just like sort of just dancing in the background from your short-term memory.
No, very nice indeed. I did just add a drop of water. Doesn't hurt this at all. Mouthfeel becomes, it's much more coating on the mouth. It's saturating everything better. really all the same notes right now, but a little bit of tobacco. Yeah. No horse sweat, though. People are looking for the horse sweat note that I got on another one. That's what Castillo says. Scott, don't say hints of camel sweat. That's what it made me think of when they were talking about riding the camels, through the desert. The camel sweat. I got that on one of the peated whiskeys one time. I called it horse sweat. I said, I feel like you're out on the prairie in the summertime. You're riding a horse. The dust is blowing. The leather saddle is wet with horse sweat and just this smell. And I got it on that whatever whiskey that was. That might have been a 93. I'm not sure. I don't remember now which one. But yeah, that was definitely one of the weirdest notes I've ever got was horse sweat. Plum. Did I say plum? Definitely. Sweet plum. Whew, yeah, nice. Nice indeed.
We got one more whiskey, and I know a lot of people are kind of tuning into the game coming up soon. So I want to wrap this up before we what do you call it? Tip off? Is that what you call it?
Yep. Tip off. You bet.
Right. Oh, it's been a while.
And somebody commented that North Carolina had taken the court already. I do have the TV on in the background over here. It looks like we're getting ready for the national anthem.
So let's jump in the last one real quick. Comment for everybody in the chat. We've had 5 whiskeys so far. I'm just curious, which of these sounds most appealing to you? Doesn't have to be any one, but have any of these caught your attention just based on sort of our initial impressions? Sean Jones says 1983.
He's got a little lag going. You need to make sure you're live. Make sure you're watching us live. You're lagging back away.
Oh, sorry. I thought Sean. Okay, I thought he was just saying that to be funny. Okay.
I bet you're lagging. Well, he wouldn't even see this. He's not gonna see that for 20, 30 minutes.
Okay, well,
John,
you're still here. 30 minutes future time.
Make sure here. I'm leaving it.
Paris in spring sounds amazing, says Cam Elliott. And Carl Armstrong says, so far G15.11 is the most intriguing. Customer is back. Customer says the last one as well as the spicy and dry. A lot of interest in the spicy and dry, and I agree. There's a lot going on there.
I was going to ask D. Mercer earlier if his first name is Roy. I don't know if anybody watching knows who Roy D. Mercer is. Some people will know.
So here, okay, you put the last one. Okay, so I see the thing scrolling below here. So this is cask 39.229, A Merry Dance, which is different from the Camel Dance. 10-year-old Speyside, so lightly peated. So, well, I guess actually it says right there. So this is, I'm sorry?
I was going to say real quick, everybody hang on. When we get done doing this, Ben's going to give away another $100 gift card.
That's
so
right.
Just give us 10, hang in there for...
Yeah, we'll run through this last whiskey of the evening. Again, reminder, all of these whiskeys are dropping tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern time.
Yeah. Yep.
And so this is the last one. Really, okay, of all the peated casks we've seen come through, this is by far the most unique in the fact that this distillery does not actually peat their own malt. So this is not a traditionally peated single malt. What we've done actually is taken, so let me pull up the bottle just so you can see. We've taken a unpeated Speyside whiskey from a nice bourbon barrel and transferred it to another barrel that previously held a peated malt. So that's done not so often, but on occasion. There's the bottle.
Yep. The bottle at 61.2%.
Really, really interesting way to infuse a bit of the peaty characteristic into a Speyside.
Well, and just I think it was the January Outturn. We had distillery one. It was 1.3 something. I want to say, whereas the same thing. It was a distillery one that had been put into a peated barrel. It had a great influence on it. Very surprised by that. It was delicious. And hopefully we see. This is a distillery that you wouldn't see a peated whiskey from, you know, and it's one of those that's only because we've put it in that ex-peated barrel. You know, the barrel that used to have a peated malt whiskey in it, and now it's imparted some of that influence on the whiskey.
On the aroma, though, very, very minimal in terms of the influence, right? Or is it just me, or maybe, you know?
No, you're right. Because, and this is lightly peated profile as well. And I don't think there's as much on the nose here as there was with the Distillery One. I definitely get a lemongrass, malty, dry, dusty, and that's probably that light peat that's making that kind of that dusty, malty note. And the color, I mean, you can see on the 10 years, so no color, hardly any influence from the wood on this one at all.
Really, really unique for a quote unquote peated whiskey. Very soft, very heathery, like a little bit of coal. You said dusty. I think that I get some of that too.
Yeah.
What's the ABV? 61.2. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Pretty high strength.
All right. Go in on the palate on this one.
Mm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Oh.
Woo.
First of all, that was epic.
Yeah.
That was sorry. You talk first. Who talked first? You talked first? I talk first. You talk.
I got it. All right. Lightly peated, yes, but it's still playing a nice a nice part on this whiskey. It's high ABV. You get a lot of alcohol bite here. There's maltiness. There's light citrus notes, powdered sugars, light peat. It's all coming together. It's definitely on the nose. We weren't getting that much peat. You know, maybe there's a trace of it. There's definitely more than a trace. Just very nice overall. Yeah.
I probably wouldn't get this in a blind tasting, but knowing what it is, I think it's pretty easy to detect that there is a difference between a malt that's been lightly peated at a low ppm from like the mainland of Scotland versus taking a Speyside whiskey and transferring it and allow it to absorb characteristics of what I would presume was a very spirit from a cask that held a very heavily peated malt. Like there are like the type and the flavors of the peat itself are very rich, very medicinal, very, very intense. Mm. So there was a question of where did they get this? Was this an Islay cask? We don't know. I'm presuming it is, because you do get a little bit of iodine and brine. Like you have some more of the coastal nature of the spirit. Could be wrong. We don't know that. We don't know that for sure. But a Distillery 53 comes to play. Like I think it's probably something like that.
Yeah. As soon as you said medicinal, I got that medicinal iodine-ish note in there. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a good question. Sorry. Another oil and coastal question for you. The oil and coastal profile seems to have a peaty nature. Is that from cask and prior cask that held a peated Scotch or? So, I guess I'll attempt to answer this. Maybe Scott, you have some thoughts too. The oil and coastal, our flavor profiles are used. Let me put it this way: the when we score whiskeys and choose to bottle them, we assign them in different flavor profiles. And the assignment is based purely on the flavor of the spirit in the glass. So which means it's possible the malt was in fact peated, but either over time or due to cask influence, the peat doesn't necessarily come through very prominently. And so therefore, we may have put it on the cask. So I'm just thinking of, for instance, there are some heavily peated Islay malts that we've bottled that have aged for a long period of time, and they've actually gone into the old and dignified profile because the peat influence has really sort of subsided over time. With oily and coastal, not every distillery is the same, but there are some distilleries, I think of some Islay distilleries, that will market their own malts as being unpeated when in fact they do very, very, very sort of low levels of they do peat their malt to very, very low levels, like 5 ppm or so. So I suppose that, I'm just sort of speculating here, but I suppose that yes, it is possible that you can still pick up some peat from an oily coastal profile. That, or there's just the general association that you might have, as I do and many of us do, with the oily, or rather the coastal style of spirit with peat. Like they're pretty synonymous at this point. So there might be a little bit of association, but I think it kind of depends on which one it is. I think there's a chance that they could be peated too. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Totally,
absolutely.
If that's confused everybody, but
I mean, Distillery 10. I've got an oily and coastal from Distillery 10, and they do both, peated and unpeated.
But they're unpeated is peated still, right?
Do what?
Isn't their unpeated still peated to like 5 ppm?
Well, that's what I say. I don't. Maybe very lightly. I'm not for sure on that, but I mean, there are a lot of 93 is another distillery, at Campbelltown. Most of their stuff is lightly peated, and sometimes it's just more. It's heavier, and it comes out heavier in some than others. But yeah, I mean, it's. I wouldn't say it's not a possibility. It's definitely a possibility that you have, an oily and coastal that has a hint of peat in it. So, yeah.
What I like about this one is that this is definitely a Speyside whiskey with this interesting duality with, you know what I mean? It's very fruity. It's like orchard fruit, a lot of honey, a lot of vanillins, but there's this unique sort of, I presume, coastal peat. And we're assuming this cask came from Islay, maybe elsewhere, but that's just like overlaid on top of it. Which is different from, like, I'm thinking of someone said about the Balvenie Caribbean cask earlier. I'm thinking like the Balvenie Peat Week as a comparison. That's a Speyside whiskey that's actually been peated, the Malton, peated malt, which is a different thing. Taking the mainland peat and peating the malt to a low level and then distilling that. We're taking a Speyside whiskey, transferring it into what was presumably a heavily peated Islay spirit, the cask from that spirit, and absorbing some of those flavors. So it's totally different. Most unique whiskey I think I've come across in a long time is this one.
So real quick, let's show our slide here real quick. There is an oily and coastal that will be released tomorrow from Distillery 93. And let me just share my screen here. Then we're going to do the draw. Hang on for 5 minutes. If that, we'll do the next drawing for a $100 gift card. Let me share our slide. Here's everything that'll be released tomorrow. And talking oily and coastal. Right here, 93.171.
Malty and coastal. There you go. Yeah, that sounds amazing.
And it's a Campbelltown.
Oh, so look at this one. I'm sorry. I'm looking at this for the first time.
Yeah.
66.197 Let the World Fall Apart. What the hell kind of name is that? That's kind of.
I'll tell you what, and I saw that one. It's a 23-year from that. It's in the old and dignified profile at $285. That'll be one of the cheapest old and dignifieds that you'll pick up. I would like to try that one as well as the 93.171. So everybody take a screenshot real quick, and we'll close this out. And we'll get on to our next drawing for a $100 gift card, courtesy of Ben.
Stellar, man, look at that 63.81 Petrichor Galore. Oh, that's probably full term. It's like a full Spanish sherry butt on yours.
Second
for 110.
Deep rich and dried fruits.
Yeah, but from 63. That's such a fruity spirit too with that sherry cask.
All right. Everybody got their screenshot?
Oh, hold on. I got a screenshot. Okay.
You got that slide. All right. So we're doing the next giveaway for $100. Let me see here. I've got to restart my drawing. Hold on. Our question. Okay, so you have to reply in the comments to the answer to this question. Anybody that enters the correct answer to this trivia question will be entered into the drawing for the $100 gift card. And that is
60 seconds. Let's say 60 seconds to do it, right?
We'll see. They just tipped off. Yeah, a little bit ago. All right. Where did the rum barrel come from that we previewed earlier with G15.11?
From which country did the rum barrel itself originate? Not the whiskey. Yeah, that's the question.
$100 gift card in the balance. Few correct answers coming in already. We got 29 correct answers. Again, we'll share the screen with you as StreamYard, our live stream provider randomizer, draws the winner.
The question was, from which country did the rum barrel originate? So might be a bit of a curveball to everybody. Drop in comments at the moment because we're looking for the country.
We've got 52 correct answers so far.
Well, Scott, no, there's. I'll give you guys a hint. There are 2 islands in this country, but we're looking for the country. So I don't think we have a correct answer yet. Do you hear him? I think I'm okay. We got one correct answer right now.
All right.
Scott, you can enter now yourself at this point.
I just got a nice tropical underlay with this. I forget what 39.229. Some nice tropical fruit notes came in underneath that light peat. All right. We're at 53 correct answers. All right, we're gonna share my.
I don't think we are. We're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 correct answers.
No, well, we'll have to. I entered the name that you gave me before.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, then in that case, everything goes. We're looking for from which island did this originate? We'll change the question.
All right, I'm going to share my screen. We're going to draw the winner right here. The correct answer is Trinidad, and we're drawn right there. StreamYard is going to randomize it. It's slowing down. It's getting ready to pick it. Who is it? Robert. Robert is the winner. $100 gift card, courtesy of Ben. Well, that's a good way to do it. I like doing it that way, and there's no I was first. No, I was first. Well, your answer didn't get to me first. Robert. Robert, we will have to. Are you a member? Robert from Tennessee, GCAP says. Sean Spaeth.
Yeah, just to clarify my point earlier, Steve Balzac summed it up. Technically, the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago is the country. But I realized that the island of Trinidad is one of the islands of the country, and that's what it says on the label. So that's probably that was the curveball question for that reason. But we're not here to really stump. We're just here to give away $100 gift cards. So, That's
and
it.
hopefully we keep that. I don't know about the $100 gift cards, maybe $50 gift cards. We'll see as we go in the future. Kind of pique interest, get a few more people watching and participating here. Really is the goal, and to return just some goodness.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for tuning in. And again, 1:00 Eastern time tomorrow is the official drop of this Outturn. So all these and more will be available on first come, first serve basis. And one hell of a lineup tonight. Scott, thanks for having me on. And yeah, that's all I got.
Hold on just a second. Let me pull up Robert here and make sure we got his. Are you a member, Robert? If not, we'll have to get your email address from you. I don't see you in our database.
Robert, shoot an email to Scott, which is
scott@smwsa.com.
Shoot him an email from your email address. And if you're not a member, of course, you can apply that gift card to a new membership. If you are a member, pick up a bottle. And yeah, have a good April.
Go KU.
Go Tar Heels.
They're up 9-3 right now.
All right, everybody. Cheers.
Real quick, we got to say, Scotch Malt Whiskey Societies are not for swigging, glugging, or knocking back. Please drink responsibly. Cheers.
Cheers.